All right, ladies and gentlemen, second quarter, we are going to be butchering some salmon here. Here we have some coho salmon. Okay, as you can see, they look a little bit different. So this one here has been scaled already. So we've taken one of these Japanese scalers, and underwater, we kind of gave it a back rub, okay? So underwater, and that's why you see that this one is a lot more silver and chrome, still with scales. Okay, we're going to just be working on this one for now, so I'll put this one away. Besides the scaler, some of the tools that you'll need. Typically, a scimitar, this really long and curved blade knife. Okay, you could do it. You can fillet salmon and butcher salmon with really any knife, but this is probably the preferred choice. Also have a chef's knife. That comes in really handy too, if you need to go through bones and such. We also have pliers. These are needle nose and they are bent a little bit, as you can see. Okay, these are really good for pulling out the pin bones. Some people also use tweezers. Spoon, really important. Okay, this here is for the carcass and scraping off any of the meat that's left over. That's really great for things like salmon cakes, salmon bisque, anything like that where you can use salmon scrap, I think is wonderful, and it's great for product utilization and very cost effective. You'll need an electronic scale. Okay, this is for weighing our portions. We typically will cut 5-ounce portions, more or less, in second quarter. A few paper towels. This is great so the fish doesn't slide around, because they can be quite slippery. As well as a hotel pan. And ice for that hotel pan, okay? Let's go through the different parts of this fish. This right here, we like to call the collar. Okay, this is the back, the dorsal fin right here. This right here is the pectoral fin, ventral fin, anal fin, tail or caudal fin. Okay, and this is the adipose fin. So if you ever see a salmon without one of these and it's been cut off and has a healed scar, that typically means it was a hatchery fish, not a farmed fish, but a hatchery fish. Okay. First thing we want to do with this is we get them like this, which is head off and eviscerated already. Okay. As you can see, it's clean inside. What I like to do is take off the collars first. Okay. So by doing this, I cut that way. As you can see, I'm maneuvering the fish around and trying to handle it as gently as possible. Okay, so the next one here would be to cut right behind this pectoral fin all the way down to the spine. Okay, do that again on the other side. Once you get to the spine, you want to cut through. And you should end up with something like this. This right here, we're not going to scrape with a spoon. We're going to keep this to brine and smoke. And we use this for smoked salmon salads, smoked salmon cakes. This is a great piece. It's, for me, one of my favorites. It's the juiciest piece of meat on the salmon. Next, as you can see right there, you can see the spine of the fish. What you want to do is take off the top fillet. Because I am right-handed, I prefer to cut with the dorsal fin towards me, more towards the edge of the table, is what I like to prefer. Every single chef, butcher, fish cutter, does it differently. Okay? So again, what I want to do is put my knife right above this spine here and take off the top fillet like that. Okay? So again, what I'm going to do, lift up the belly gently so that I don't cut through the belly here. That's really important. So I gently lift up the belly, rest my palm on the top of the fillet, and I want to come in from this way and make the first cut. From there, it's really important too, as you can see my knife is this way here, you want to have your knife angled this way, and towards me just slightly. All these are an exaggeration, but you definitely want some angle to it because it makes your knife flow through the fish a little bit smoother. What you're hearing here, if you can hear it, is the knife going against and cutting through the rib cage there. And as you can see, all I'm doing, I'm not grabbing it like this. I'm just gently, with a few fingers, holding the belly and resting my palm. Okay? The more you mangle the fish, the harder it is for you later to deal with it, to cut it into portions. Okay? So again, with that angle, bringing it down all the way, I can feel the bone the whole way. Okay? Once you get here, just gently cut right through. There you have it. So here, again, we're not grabbing it like this. We're always treating fish like a baby. Okay, so I want to grab it just like that with my hands under and flip it over. Just like that. Okay, as you can see, here, you have the ventral fin there. You have this whole rib cage. Okay, this is some of the dorsal fin meat. Some people do not like that. Some people don't mind. Here, right above the spine is, for this coho salmon, I would say about 1.5 centimeters above is your pin bones. You can kind of see them. Okay. As you can see, we left some of the spine on there. This is pretty typical. Some places that are more fine dining make you take that off. Okay. So we're going to do the same for this side here. Now, everyone does it differently. Some people will flip it over. For trout, I definitely flip it over because it's small. For salmon, I aim the knife up this time and go right towards me like this. Okay? So again, I'm going to go under now. And the knife is angled up this time. There you have it. This is our carcass that we'll show you what to do with in a little bit here. And now, we have 2 fillets that we need to clean. So the first part, where I like to start, is if you've left any bones here in the dorsal fin area, which I can feel bones now. Okay, as you can see, this one does not have that, and so we have to remove it. How do we do that? We come right in. And I gently cut at a very deep angle like this. Okay. I'll cut through that dorsal fin meat, and if you look at it, my hand easily separates the skin over here. I'm going to cut the skin right there, and I'm going to run the knife just like this to take this off. So as you can see, this is kind of the dorsal fin bone area right there. Okay. When you guys are on butcher station, you guys want to keep all your trim because, again, you have a yield project that we need to do. So keep it in your pan. Next part, what I want to do is cut off the ventral fin. The way we do that, we kind of scoop it out. So again, I'm going to go right in and scoop it out. I'm going to work my way towards the anal fin. As you can see, there is some bone here in the anal fin area. So again, we don't cut straight down. Always cut at an angle like that for fish. So again, I'm going to maneuver this around. Take it out like so. Okay. So again, we are almost there. If it is the right side of the fillet, I'm right-handed, I like to cut towards the center of my body. So I always cut towards the left, sometimes to the right. Now, what we want to do is remove the rib cage. Okay? So, this time, the knife is going to be going in and pointed up slightly. Again, that's an exaggeration right there. So, I'm going to go in, and then you should be able to feel and see your knife. You kind of see how I glide it down like that. Okay, one more time, to there. The bones stop right there. You can feel it. So right about here. So here's boneless. So when I get to here, I flip it over like that, the whole rib cage, gently rest my hand on here and pull. And that should take off most of the membrane. Okay, and there you have your rib cage. So there you have a clean fillet. And then from here, what you want to do is remove pin bones. Okay? For removing pin bones, we have this, again, bent needle nose plier. I like to go down this way towards the fish. So here, depending on where you cut the collar off, there's probably around 28 to 32 pin bones. So I can see some sticking out, so I'm going to start from here. So as you can see, I pull it up, I go down, I feel it, I gently rest my finger on there and pull it up. See that? Notice how I'm keeping it in my finger and not all over my board. You want to keep it quite clean. We don't want that physical contamination in someone's food. Notice too, some areas might be really finicky and hard to find the bone. You might have to get in there, and it may look like it's getting destroyed a little bit, the flesh. The idea is not to make a mess of the fillet. But even if it's like this, if you gently put it back together, and once you cook it, the proteins coagulate and it comes together. So again, sometimes you can get 2 at a time. Alright, this is a finicky one where I got to go in and get it. There it is. And then again, you saw that big mess there. I can just close it up. That is about all of them right there. So now this fillet is boneless. It's still skin on. So a few things you can do. Again, guys, some people do not like any of this membrane. For our purposes, we don't mind it. This is actually the belly here and the richest part of the fish. So some people like that. I like the idea that you're serving, when you cut straight down like this, you're serving a part of the loin and the belly and the bottom section. I think that's really, really important. Different textures of the fish. Next, I want to show you how to remove the skin. To take off the skin, again, I'm right-handed. This is one of those times where we cut towards the right and not to the center of my body. Okay, I cut away from me. So what I'm going to start with here, again with the fillet towards the edge of the board, I'm going to put my finger there, get right under there, and as you can see, I'm working my way to get the skin off right there. Here's one thing you could do to help with handling it is make a little hole so that you can hang on to it. Notice that this right here is the bloodline. Okay, this brown spot here, some people, some fancier high-end restaurants do not like to serve it. They like to only serve the orange part. of the flesh. For our purposes, we serve it all. We like that part. It's really rich. So again, from here, what I'm going to do is angle the knife down and put a lot of tension here on the skin. That's really important there. Okay, and as you can see, I'm sawing at it while putting a lot of tension on the skin. Okay. And now you can kind of see, this is the skin here. Many different things you could do with this. You could dehydrate it and make chips from it. Okay, or some people in sushi restaurants, they fry it, and then after that they make a crispy salmon skin roll. Again, good way for product utilization. All right, now we want to work on some portioning. Again, we have this electronic scale. For me, I like to portion starting from the tail. Okay. Again, we're going to shoot for somewhere around 5 ounces. So the first one, I'll take the tail off. Again, this is what propels the fish, so typically it's very tough. So this one here, we can smoke and add to our scrap. Next piece, right there. So here we have a 5.2, 5.1. That right there hits our tolerance. So if our target is 5 ounces, our tolerance is 0.5 ounce. So it could be anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5. Next piece. .54, so I still hit my tolerance there. So I can call that good, or if there was something to trim, let's just say I didn't like this part, I can cut that off. That can go into my scrap bin, and it still is 5.1. So it's a good way to keep your trim also. Again, the next piece, 5.3. .3. Now, once you get to the last piece, 2 things you could do. I like to weigh it. Knowing that it's 10.1, I know I can get exactly 2 portions out of there. So I'm going to shoot for that. .7, that still hits tolerance. 5.4. So as you can see, I've done it for a while, and so I didn't have any problem hitting my tolerance. But if you're new to butchery, it is better to err on the side of more so that you can trim versus cutting a 4-ounce portion that we would not be able to use. Okay? These here, cutting straight up and down of the fish, is called darn. Okay, cutting on the darn. Again, we have this other fillet. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to show you a different cut. So again, we are taking off the ventral fin. I like to clean this part up a little bit. And again here, since I am right-handed, I'm cutting towards the left. Missed one. This time the pin bones go in towards the loin. Okay, you got to remember that. So I want to pull towards me, because imagine if I pull this way, it tears the flesh. Okay, if I pull that way, it tears the flesh. So I want to pull towards me. Sometimes the bones can be a little bit finicky. As you can see, I'm smoothing it over when I go in there like this because it's not ideal. Alright, same thing. We are going to skin the fish. Again, tension is really important. Realistically, if I wanted to just hold the knife in one area and pull the fillet, that's possible too. Okay. This time, I want to show you a different cut called tranche. Okay, so this time we are cutting at an angle, like so. Again, I still get rid of my first piece there, the tail, and now we are again going for 5-ounce portions. As you can see, that's a miscut. That's 4.1. So I got to cut a little bit bigger. 4.4. I barely scratched by on that one. Okay. 4.6. We made it there. 4.8. 5, and let's check this last one. It is only 9, so if I cut two 4.5s, that may be okay, but I'm cutting it close. Don't know if we got it. 4, so this one would pass. So as you can see, right here are the portions that we miscut. So as you can see, it's really important to try to hit the right weight and actually cut bigger versus smaller, because then these would typically be used for something else and not center of the plate protein. Next part is dealing with the carcass. Okay, so with the carcass here, as you can see, there's plenty of meat left down there, and that's why we're going to use our spoon here. And all we have to do is scrape the meat up. That simple. Okay, shouldn't take too long. There you have it. And there we go, guys. Okay. This becomes part of your trim. There you have it. Remember, we don't want to set our pan on top of a dirty board because now the bottom of the pan is dirty. So I'm going to show you. So basically, we have our darn cut. This is called tranche here on the bias. We have our unusable pieces here. The larger pieces we'll use for something, of course. Okay. The smaller pieces here will probably be for salmon cakes. These pieces here that are more substantial can be used for smoked salmon. And again, we have our collar here and the rest of our unusable trim. So that's what we're looking for when we are butchering round fish like salmon or trout.